morning. It's Viewpoint. It's Wednesday morning, a little rare and rainy this morning. Good morning, Mrs. Busby.
Good morning to you.
Welcome to the program of politicians, personalities, and perspectives. We have our guest this morning, which Mrs. Busby will introduce. We always try to start Viewpoint with a kudo, or maybe two or three. Today, I'm going to limit it to a kudo to our mayor, Keith Snyder. The Honorable Keith has been proactive in this matter of the hospital, giving the old site to the city, which is a very neat thing, and parking adjacent there too. And the mayor has seen fit to be proactive and to do something about this rather than wring his hands, what are we going to do with this? There are some people, I understand, who maybe don't think that is an appropriate site for a park, and they're welcome to call at 648-5510 and argue their point with us. Don't confuse me with the facts. My mind's made up on this. So, no, seriously, Keith is taking the bull by the horns here, and he's doing something that he thinks is going to be for the benefit of the community long after he's gone from office and gone, period.
Period, and long after all of us are
may that
gone.
be in many, many years. Fundraiser. Culver's once again is cooperating with entities in the city, and this time they're cooperating with Lincoln College swim team, and I believe it's the 21st, which is a couple of days now, that they're donating a portion of their proceeds for the benefit of the swim team. And Jim's cat just walked in.
No, he's trying to walk in. Hadn't made it
Football
yet.
season's on. There's some unusual scouting reports that have hit the airways. Here's one that has come up. Is a fellow by the name of Wayford P. Jackson. Wayford is 6'6", 215 pounds. He's a wide receiver, and he's the hottest prospect from Texas in the last 10 years. He loves rap music. He's going to demand a mini cassette in his helmet, and he currently holds the world's record for the most you-knows during an interview, 62 in 1 hour. Wayford can completely print his entire name. Quintitious Jenkins, 6'3", 220-pound running back out of Dunn, North Carolina. That's not Dunn, that's Durham. No, says here
No, it's done. It's all done.
I think he's done too. He also led the state in burglaries, but has only 9 convictions. He's been clocked at 4.2 seconds in a 40-yard dash with a 19-inch TV under each arm.
Isn't that terrible?
Well, some of the funny stuff that comes up here. Why don't we, I did want to comment to some of the other sayings, that insults from the past. You might find this for you sometimes professionally. A member of Parliament said to Disraeli, that would be Sir Benjamin Disraeli, I presume, "Sir, you either die on the gallows or of some unspeakable disease." "And that depends, sir," said Disraeli, "whether I embrace your policies or your mistress." Why don't you take a minute to...
That wasn't very respectful. Oh, heck.
Perspectives. All right.
Now, today is the 19th. Just the other day, we had a very successful walk that I'm sure you had to have been living under a rock to have not noticed. And Andi Hake, who is the director of the Chamber of Commerce, is with us today to tell us about that. The Chamber has been very busy with this Save Logan, as in Correctional Center, and has many plans that are yet to happen. So Andy's going to talk with us about the financial impact on our community, and as a matter of fact, as they think about closing other facilities and putting these people, I don't know where, in gymnasiums, but I don't know whether that's at Central School or whether they're going to not run out of gymnasiums with all of this. And we're going to be talking about Save Logan, and there are a lot of people who have been working hard on this for obvious reasons. I mean, this is getting people in their wallets, and that's where your ears are most closely attached.
Absolutely.
Andi, thank you for taking time to come to be with us this morning. I'm very grateful, and I'm anxious to hear what else you have planned, and how happy you must have been in retrospect about the march from the chamber up to the courthouse.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. I always love coming here and talking to you guys.
Are we nice?
You are very nice. I
Oh,
love
good, Bill.
Swallow that,
You're
Mike.
nice.
I'm all right. Sure. All right. Would you say that again? I want my brother to hear that.
it. You're very nice. I love coming here.
Pay attention, Jack. Yeah.
Well, yes, the march/rally that we had last Thursday was a huge success. I really had no idea what to anticipate because it's not one of those events that you get an RSVP for. We had the community meet at the Chamber office on 5th Street, and the intent was to march down to...
What is it that they call that? What just happened?
I don't know.
Well, it wasn't very good.
Boy, you were so rudely interrupted, Andy. Go ahead.
I apologize.
The intent was...
Technical glitch.
There you go.
difficulties, yes. The intent was to march down 5th Street to the square. At about 10 till 4, I walked out of our office building to the front and saw about 20 people in the parking lot.
Oh, I bet your heart just broke.
It did. And I got to be honest, I thought, oh, is this not only going to, excuse my language, but suck, but it's going to suck in front of all the media, because I knew all the media from Central Illinois was going to be there. So I just thought, wow, when we fail, we know how to do it well, I guess.
Poor
But
kid.
then about 4:05, I walked out, and there was not a square inch left on our parking lot, and all surrounding the building, there were cars everywhere, fire truck. I mean, it was just at that point, instead of my heart sinking, it leapt out of my chest because it was the coolest thing. And then I had to beat the march down there, but I wanted to parade with them, so we were behind the walkers for a while in the melon car, and it was amazing. There's a hill up the top of 5th Street before it turns into Logan, and we were behind them.
You don't realize what a hill that is unless you're on a bicycle or on foot, do you?
And we could see, and the mayor remarked in his speech on Thursday about how he got a little lump in his throat when he turned around and looked back on the crowd at the top of the hill. Well, I was at the bottom of the hill looking at the top, and I imagine it was equally as amazing. And it was just so wonderful to see our community, because it wasn't, we had, by the time it was all said and done, we had over 500 people around the square. And it wasn't just Logan Correctional employees. I know State Bank bought T-shirts for their employees, or part of the cost, the Save Logan T-shirts, and let them off work early if they wanted to march and be at the rally.
Well, bless their hearts.
A number of other businesses likewise came out to support, because they understand that if we lose 357 jobs out of our community, it will equal more jobs lost from maybe their business because of the lack of spending in our community. I mean, it's estimated we're going to lose about $73 million out of Logan County if they close Logan Correctional.
Why don't you repeat that figure? That's incredible.
73 million. You want to know another incredible figure? They're estimating the savings of closing that prison at $9 million. I don't know. To me, that math
No
just
brainer, huh?
doesn't really add up.
Not so much.
So-
Not so much. Not only that, but let's talk about good old what's-his-name from Illinois, who said that, $1 million here and $1 million there, and pretty soon you're talking about real money.
That was old Senator Rev Dirksen.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And that's true. But this $1 million that they'd save here, which it just absolutely astonishes me, to government is nothing. What is the debt in Illinois? The last I heard, it was $13 billion.
And rising every day, of course, obviously. Yeah,
I mean, it's just absolutely astronomical. So when you weigh that against the $73 million for our community, and weigh either of those against $13 billion, you're talking several boxcar loads of dollar bills.
Well, the total, Logan Correctional is not the only one slated to close. There's 7 different facilities, and the total savings they're projecting is around $58 million. That still doesn't add up, because if you take $73 million times 7, and the total savings is only $58 million. It just doesn't make sense. And that doesn't include, you talk about putting the prisoners in gymnasiums. Unfortunately, they're not talking about Central School. They're talking about other prisons that are already overcrowded. And I know we keep hearing this, but we're talking about not only human rights issues, we're talking about safety issues for our corrections officers who, and literally, they go in to, we've heard about Menard and what's going on down there, and guards getting beat up and raped and all this other things. Well, you put people in situations like this, and things are going to happen. Our guards don't carry guns. They go in with a keychain and a radio. And so they're putting their lives at risk, and so is the governor when he talks about overcrowding our prisons even more.
Well, you can sugarcoat this prison population any way you want to about, there's some nice, and Judith and I have worked with some nice folks in there who are incarcerated, paying a debt that they bought themselves, but there are some really very bad people in some of these prisons. We don't have that type of prisoner here, I don't believe, here at Logan County, but there are some very, very bad people in there.
There are some
and
people we do
never
not want on our
anything
streets.
to society. And when you start mixing up, you take a bunch of folks from here at Logan County and start putting them in with others, first thing you know, you're going to have a prison anarchy on your hands somewhere along the line.
It's a disaster in the making, for certain.
Beyond that, it's just incomprehensible to me to think that the incumbent governor, notice I said incumbent, would begin to think that would be a viable option to close prisons. It's beyond my ken. I can't begin to imagine that. The economic impact, it would be just absolutely, totally devastating to this community, and to hundreds of families, perhaps hundreds of families. Now, I'd like to emphasize the date of the rally that they're going to have at Lincoln Christian University, and urge folks to show up. By the way, I didn't wear the red shirt Mrs. Busby gave me because I thought it was too cold this morning.
Him was chilly.
It is chilly out there.
But, of a serious matter, I'd really like to urge folks to take some time to pack that wonderful chapel they have out there, that Hargrove Chapel. Give us the date on that and the times, please, Andi.
It is Wednesday, October 26th at 5 p.m. What we're planning, and when I say we, let me talk about this for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
We have a collaborative with myself, Mr. Mike Maniscalco, who's the executive director of the Economic Development Partnership. The mayor has been extremely active in this, and then a number of representatives from the prison who are jumping in to help. And that would be employees, not inmates. And we would like to encourage the community to come out, and they've got this beautiful drive up to the chapel at LCU. Mm-hmm. We would like to be out there at least 15 minutes early and stand with signs, and we've got signs made, so people don't even have to make their own sign. We've got them there in red. We'd love everybody to wear red. If you don't have a Save Logan shirt, we still have them. We can get them one, or you can just wear your own red. And just line that so as the 12 legislators come in and the Department of Corrections folks drive in, because that's the way they're going to come in, we want them to see the support that our community has for Logan Corrections. And we also want them to leave us alone. I mean, 9 years ago, less than 10 years ago, they took away our largest employer in the community. When is enough enough? And I mean, it's just too much for our community to handle. And so we're trying to get a crowd out there. We're not going to ask anybody to speak that doesn't want to speak. We're working on getting a group to testify at this hearing, because it's a rally and then we're going into a hearing, and it will be long, and we'd love for everybody to stay the whole time, but if you can just show up at the beginning and stay as long as you can, that would be really important. Mm-hmm. And we are looking for people to tell their personal stories. We are the last of 7 hearings that this same group of legislators have been attending. and we want to tell our unique story. The numbers speak volumes, but we want personal stories. For example, there's a young family who the husband works at Logan Correctional. They're expecting a baby. They just bought a new house, new job. I mean, this would devastate their family. He's the only income into the family, and just signed the papers on a new house.
Yeah.
So we need those stories out there.
And in this economy, you don't go down the street and get another job.
No, there aren't, unfortunately, that many available right now.
That's right.
648-5510. Somebody out there in Etherland might have some knowledge or just some comments they want to make about this closing of the Logan Correctional Center. It's kind of incomprehensible to even think that a man would even think about that. Notwithstanding the social impact, and that can be argued in many ways as far as the closing of Lincoln Developmental Center is concerned. That's a fact, and it's closed, and there sit that facility deteriorating. And it's just common sense to when a building, I don't care whether a large or small building, if it's empty, it deteriorates. Mm-hmm. And look at what's going to, if you drive by there and look, you see the boards that they've put on there, they're all curling up now and so forth, and water's getting into it, I'm certain it is. So that facility is just deteriorating.
It's very sad.
The same thing would happen out here south of town at the prison.
Yeah, just a little.
648-5510. Somebody might have something very salient that they want to introduce to that.
My personal opinion, and I know that the government is very interested in my personal opinion. They think a lot.
We are, and that's all it counts.
Is that they have to do more at not only the state level but the federal level in ferreting out things like this DCFS debacle, where the director was let go because his buddy got millions out of the state that he shouldn't have had. Mm-hmm. You have the FEMA debacles at the federal level. I think they ought to start cleaning their own house so that when they come to us and want sacrifices, they can say, look, we're trying to do something, instead of all they say is, oh my gosh, well, I guess we'll have to have more money.
A lot of knee-jerk reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and our local legislators have been wonderful. They're very supportive. They understand what this would do to Logan County. Mr. Aaron Schock also has is sending a letter, and he's going to send a representative to testify at the hearing, which I think is wonderful. We've reached out to Senator Durbin as well. They go back into veto session next week, our local state representatives and senators, and they understand what they need to do to help us out.
Now, who are these legislators that are going to come? They comprise a special committee, right? I'm not asking for their names.
I know some of their
they're
names.
The committee of what?
They are, that's what makes up COGFA. They're the Commission of Governmental Forecasting and Affairs or something. I can't remember what the A stands for. But basically, there's a relatively new law that says if the governor wants to close a state facility, they have to go through this process of having a hearing. The governor has to submit all this paperwork, and then the hearing has to happen. They don't have any legal standing, like the arbitrator that just ruled that the governor cannot lay off or close the prisons. But they do make a recommendation. And from what I understand, the recommendation weighs fairly heavy. We should know, I think I just read yesterday, 5 days into the veto session, or 5 days after our hearing, we should have some results of what their ruling is.
You suspect then, in your dealings with them, that the state is in fact dealing in good faith with these communities where the 7 prisons are located?
By the state, you mean through the COGFA hearing? Or I haven't been to any, and I've heard just a little bit that, yes, they are. When Pontiac Prison was on the chopping block,
I remember that.
They had the hearings, and Senator Brady went, and he was one of the legislators on the panel, and the Department of Corrections got grilled hard why they chose Pontiac and why it was why they thought it was a good decision, and they didn't let up on them. They were hard on them. And I'm hoping they're equally as hard on the Department of Corrections. Now, obviously, our governor is not going to be here next week. We wish he would be, so we could ask him those tough questions. But we'll have our minute or 2 minutes. We're told we get 2 minutes to speak.
You know, Andy, it occurs to me that Mrs. Busby just used an oxymoron, wherein it applies to some state officials. Some, I don't know. You used the word good faith. Somehow that left me. I think perhaps if Mr. Ash is ready, we will probably run to a commercial break, and if anybody out there wants to talk in about the call in about the prison, it's 648-5510. It's a serious matter, folks.